This is Weird Renegade Witches blog. Hit us up when you want some real motherfucking work done. Hopefully you can hear me because the fan is on. So it's loud. So I'm going to continue on talking. So just ride with the frequencies, okay? However, you already know the one-to-one lessons have already started this month, and it's getting closer to the end of the month. So of course the monthly lessons are going to end. However, that doesn't stop you from hitting me up in reference to one-on-one lessons where I work with people every day, weekly, very closely within the frequencies, advocating and more, all the above, because you know everything is occultism. But understand, work is separate, but at times, of course, it will go hand in hand. But understand that's a separate charge. Okay, so that's just where that is. And also, you already know that I'm offering various services, and one of them is very much the abortion services and working with individuals or getting through the frequencies and having understanding. Also, I'm offering services in reference to the deprogramming. However, it was something very interesting that a spiritual constituent brought up to me in reference to the abortion frequency. And she made sure to tell me that she does not regret getting an abortion. And I also explained to her, I don't want you to regret it. That's not the frequency of it. The frequency is to understand the energies and how it connects to you. And do you have a clear understanding of what an abortion is? Because I simply explained to her, you understand you're a mother. You carried a child, okay? And technically you gave birth to a child. Now, some of you may disagree. I don't give a fuck. The bottom line is this, that you carried a child and there was a heartbeat at the time of that abortion or whatever you have done, okay? So understand, yes, you killed your child. That's why it is important that women can kill and give life. Okay, and I simply told her, I said, you might as well give yourself a Mother's Day card. You might as well throw a birthday party. You might as well go to dinner and sit on the other side of the dang table, because that's just where it is. So those are the conversations that I'm talking about and what that means and how that's connected to you. I'm not here to guilt trip or anything like that. I want you to understand the process. That's it, and more, okay? And it's very interesting. I didn't understand the total dynamics of the whole energy of the abortion block, but that's pretty serious. But I do believe women have the right to make their decisions of anything. Okay, I'm just real about what abortion is. I don't care what anybody else is talking about. When you get that sonogram done and they show you, even if you're 2 weeks and you see that heartbeat, are you going to continuously say that's not a child? It's a fucking child and you carried a child. Understand, if you've had multiple abortions, you've had multiple pregnancies. Okay, so you were a mother hella times. If you had 10 abortions, you had 10 pregnancies. That means you've been a mother 10 fucking times, and that means you killed your kids 10 times, okay? So that's just where that is, okay? So anyway, art is occultism. Occultism is a motherfucking art. And wayward is about that revenge, redemption, responsibility, and that motherfucking spell work. Hopefully I could make this pretty quick, but you know, some energies have rooted itself. So Malcolm Jamal Warner, where in the fuck did that come from? Right? And I said to myself, I said, something is going on, because I kept seeing, what's his name? What is his name? Is it Cal, or what is it? Anthony Payne? Was it, remember Cockroach from the Cosby Show? Okay. And I'm just finding something energy. Remember him from Martin Cole, from, you know, I'm just giving the stage names. And I've been seeing him being interviewed on different reels, and there was one that stood out to me that I was a little suspicious. I said, what is going on? This seems a little disgruntled. So I need to understand it. And I remember he talked about, I guess, that episode when on the Cosby Show he had shaved his head off. I mean, he had, well, they gave you the illusion that he shaved his hair off, and they had like the, you know, the latex or the prosthetic, whatever to cover the head, right, to make it look bald. Okay, so that's just that's still considered costuming and makeup and so on, and to give you the FX effect, right? However, he said for them to do it, or the process, they basically straightened his hair. And I thought to myself, I said, well, technically they didn't have to straighten his hair. All they had to do was use a good gel, wet his hair, and use a gel and comb it back and make sure that it's hard, right? Or even a conditioner can even, can do the job. I said, so that's quite interesting that they put a relaxer in it, right? So anyway, he talked about that, but he said that his hair, after they took, I'm going to call it the prop. After they took the prop off his head, then it was straight. So I'm just paraphrasing kind of what he's saying. And I'm like, okay. He says, so I'm thinking to myself, I said, well, all they have to do is just put on a fake hair or a lace front and make it, they could make that. That's like real quick. You could buy that anywhere too, right? However, he said Bill Cosby got at him and then terminated him or fired him from the show because his hair is straight and it went against the contract, I'm assuming. And I said, that's a cold game, and that's a cold piece of spell work. And those contracts, I told you guys, it'd be full of air and fire magic, and it'd be full of spell work. But something in me was thinking, I said, I remember looking at the Cosby Show, and I used to like that cockroach. I thought he was cute. I liked him better than actually Malcolm Jamal Warner. And he had a different type of personality. However, I remember during that time, I'm like, he's gaining popularity. Even when I looked at back shows of the Cosby Show, I can see he was gaining popularity. So I'm wondering, what was that firing about? Okay, because that sounded like it was on some hater shit, and somebody was being very interesting. And what did that mean? And was he overshadowing and becoming bigger than the show? Very interesting, right? So I started seeing all these reels of him talking. I said, what is going on? I said, is something going to happen with Bill Cosby? I mean, what's up, right? And I'm trying to read into it, but I did kind of read in between the lines what I said, is he trying to say that Malcolm Jamal Warner may have been jealous because of his popularity? So I just kind of put it on the shelf and, was listening to some of his reels. So now we're hit with this shit here, with this whole Costa Rica shit. I said, damn, that wasn't even a ritual. That was an oath murder. I said, did it happen when they said it happened? When it happened? A couple weeks ago? Did it happen in June? Because what's always giving shit away is fucking TMZ. I'm not going to go through the number system. I'm not going to go for, that energy. I'm just looking at the symbolism and the symbolic frequency of the firstborn son. Okay? In real life, Bill Cosby's son, his son was murdered. So in this case, in television, his son is murdered, allegedly. Okay, but we know what it is, what it ain't. But then at the same time, I get a weird, eerie frequency. Like, this doesn't sit well. Like, is he dead or is he hiding out somewhere? It's a weird frequency that I'm feeling. I'm getting it's a very eerie imbalance, and it's not cool, right? But I'm just going to talk about this for giggles and laughs. Like, it's pretty fucked up, isn't it, right? But I know in the world of Costa Rica, then here I go with my mind. I say, it wasn't all them conscious niggas over there in Central America, and they go to all of them places. It's very interesting, right? But I also know that white people like going to Central America, especially El Salvador and Costa Rica. And El Salvador and Costa Rica I call it the retreat in the Amazon area, especially Costa Rica, because I know a lot of those white folks go to those retreats and be drinking those elixirs and shit like that, and so they can hallucinate or feel that they're getting a detox, or they want to see different type of spirits. So what is very interesting about Costa Rica, I'm wondering, is it the same, considering that their government went into the Amazon and really kind of tore shit up? So I know stuff is not really the same. I'm not saying the beauty, but I'm just saying I know some shit is not the same anymore. And I just know a lot of this, not because of black people, but because of white people that I know that travel there and so on, in reference to the retreats. So anyway, the whole frequency is very, very, very suspect. And anytime you see TMZ doing some shit, you got to ask questions. So then was very interesting. He was in line to get on the airplane or whatsoever. Then you have somebody being sneaky, recording him. And then I heard that they interviewed. So this is a very interesting frequency. And so we found out about it now. And remember, this shit is under the Jubilee. So then I said, oh, they're being funny. So they showing us on a Monday, Mickey, demonic day, whatever they want to play games, how it's maneuvering. Of course, we're getting the number system. Here it is. So again, I'm going to look at this as a oath murder, allegedly, or killing, allegedly, or death, allegedly, or disappearance, allegedly. So this is a very weird frequency. And not only that, I'm going to take it very symbolic. I'm like, who in the fuck is who's praying against and who's throwing spell work at black people to be broke and poor and trying to kill the boule? See, here I go. Because remember, the Cosby Show, in addition to A Different World, was the energies of college and boule. And you already know that they're playing games with college and black people. So that here again, we're killing the boule black kid. Okay, the boule family. So we need to reverse this type of spell work, right? Because they really trying to tap into our pockets. They throw in subliminal spell work now at black people and the black young man. So as black people, we got to pray against this bullshit, because they're using the cyber world to play a lot of, mechanical spiritual games and cyber magic, right? So we better see the fucking what's up. Okay? We just talking, we just having conversation. So that's where we are with that energy. However, what's also very odd in the universal soul, people been talking about these bears that's ending up in gas stations. In San Bernardino, they told 25,000 different stories. That first they said it was fake, but real. First they said that it was reported it was human skin that was sewn on these bears. Then they reneged on the whole story and said that's not what's going on. Well, I believe that is human skin, because then they're saying in other locations in the United States, other bears are coming up, but with animal skin. So that is very eerie, and it sounds like like a psychopath, like a maniac. You understand what I'm saying? So that's where that energy is. So that's something to think about. What's also very interesting is somebody forwarded me, I think it's Joyce DeWitt, off of Three's Company. And remember Chrissy, Jack, and Janet? Well, remember she died some years back. How in the hell is this woman not dead? And she has white hair and she's alive? I told you the dead is going to walk again. Okay? So don't think you're crazy that you're like, hey, I thought this person died, but they're alive. No, 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 no. I told you the dead is going to walk again, just like Jimmy Swaggart. We all thought he was dead. It's like, what? But you know what's also eerie? What's also very eerie is I had someone hit me up and they were asking me questions about Wendy Williams. And they were hitting me up from Brussels, okay? And they asked me, and this is the same person a couple of years before Tina Turner was announced dead. He hit me up, and not hit me up, but he had it on his social media. It was like, R.I.P. Tina Turner, we're going to miss you. And I hit him up. I said, Tina Turner dead? He said, yeah, she died, da-da-da-da. Huh. I kept looking for it. They never announced it here, right? They didn't announce her death here until 2 years later. So anyway, we're talking, and he was asking me some energies about Tina Turner. Well, he was asking me about Tina Turner. He said, how come not Tina Turner, I'm sorry, Wendy Williams. He was asking me, he said, I'm looking at America's news. He said their social media. He said, why do they keep showing Wendy Williams as alive? I said, what? He said, that woman is not alive. I said, what are you talking about? And then he said, she died. And I'm saying just like this. He said, she died a couple years back. He said 3 years. And then I started tripping. I said, I remember when they said that Wendy Williams was on her deathbed and she was in a freaking coma. And I said, I think that was around like 3 years ago, about two to 3 years ago, right? So all of a sudden, what popped up, and I call it on back end information because I can't have whatever I have. It's censored, right? So I had to get it from my back end information. And then it popped up with Wendy Williams' family acknowledging her death at 58, allegedly. Then what came up behind that was a regular civilian. That man wasn't lying. And he said, they unalived Wendy Williams, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, and he was like, R.I.P. Wendy Williams at 58. We're going to miss you. What the fuck kind of games is going on, right? Let me say this under this Jubilee before I really get started. I get people who sit up and be saying all type of stuff to me, and I thought you people were cleared that I am an occultist and I talk about occult things, and no matter what it is, everything is occultism. I'm not cult, I'm an occultist. I do underground occultism, even of what I call a form of beatniking. Okay? So I do work, and I do also spiritual psychology. Okay? I do a whole lot of things. So if I am on here talking, I'm talking about occult stuff, because I know some of you people are on IEPs and don't understand that very clearly, or some of you people are joining new, or you're just assholes, just want to talk shit. So either you are on ESL or you are on an IEP. okay? And you don't understand an occultist and what occultism is, because you seem to be in your feelings because you feel that I either talk about people or I attack people. No, it's called occultism because everything is connected to something that's dealing with some kind of practical ritual or practical ritual spirit or spirit and so on. So let's make that clear, because I'm about to get to some shit that's going to offend. Okay? Anyways, I have received a screen, what's it called, a print screen of some comments from my last video, and it appeared some people feel that I'm being offensive and defensive, right? One of the energies, and I'm going to kind of reference back to this, is from a person, I think it's Simba TV Entertainment 3203. Look, this could be a white woman, this could be mixed company, I don't give a fuck, but I'm going to read it as is because this is a form of spell work, right? So we just have to understand some things, because for some reason they felt the need to write this. So they said, "You lucky I like you. I be wanting to talk shit or shit." Right? Without a period but lowercase I. That means that they don't look at themselves as adequate. They look at themselves as inadequate because they didn't capitalize the I. So they lowercased it because that's the way them see themselves. So that means that they felt some kind of aggression towards me, and they felt belittled about what I say because they're not big enough to talk big. Okay? And for some reason, even if they talk shit, you think I give a fuck? All I'm going to do is delete the shit and block your ass. Because I ain't got time for this, because I don't need you to detour everybody else for basically communicating, because you're too busy trying to put spell work on everybody, including myself, okay? I know about that Legion type of cyber magic. And then even if this is about, that's called cyber magic. I don't play them type of games because I ain't got time for that. If you can't say it in my face, then don't say it on here. The next one is very interesting. So anyway, this one is from Inspirational Spaceship, okay? And this right here says, "Black women love to hate on the gays. Nobody sent for you, but you continue to come for us. Miserable, miserable bit." Because it's spelled B-I-H. Do I need hooked on phonics? Because, you know. But, and this person, they made sure to write capital M for, me being miserable. They say miserable. Bit. Understand? Miserable. Bit. So, B-I-T-H lowercase. Well, if you're going to write bitch in lowercase, or B-I-H in lowercase, or B-E-E or B-E, that's for a man. I'm a woman. Make sure next time if you're going to call me a bitch or a B, make sure it's capital. Because are you calling me a bitch? A bitch? Bitch. You got to decide one, okay? Anyway, I'm going to get to this because I'm going to answer these questions right here. What is ever so interesting about this mentality, it is very clear it is a cult-like following. And they feel and believe that they are sponsored and they have a lot of monies and backup, okay? I understand during the pandemic and during the Biden era that it was a lot of condoned behavior. I understand that you people believe that we as women can't say anything to you. I understand under your psychosis, but I'm going to respect where you at, that you believe that black women are jealous of you, and you are justified to believe that, and that's okay. Because I'm kind of going to, in my philosophy, understand your battle, your fight, and your understanding. Because I understand that people are homophobic, transphobic, misogynist, whatever, toxic masculinity, all the words that you guys have put forth to create your movement. I understand that you guys have a ballroom church, you have a ballroom cult, you have Church of Sodomy, you have Church of Sodomites, you have all of this energy going. You guys have your, what we call gospel orgies. I understand you guys have been free sexually. I understand everything has been put on the table. I understand that the agenda and the movement has worked. But I want to go through some frequencies so we can all understand what the fuck is going on, because this is really psychological and spiritual warfare. We didn't even understand how much we were under warfare, right? And I'm going to say the Bible facilitates their argument. But we also have to understand that the Bible is not written in its true form. I have seen the supposed or some of the original writings. I have seen different frequencies Bibles going all the way back from allegedly from like the 1300s into the 1400s, the writings, then you get into the 1500s, then you get into the 1600s, which is very important. However, we also have to understand they restructured the frequency. We also have to understand there was energies that was rewritten during the Greek era of Aristotle, the Greek philosopher, right? So we have to go back before Christ, then we have to go back into after Christ. So you have to understand the original frequencies of what I call the darker side of Satan. So I've talked a little bit about the darker part of Lucifer, but let's talk about the darker part of Satan, that there's a part of religion that they don't talk about, right? And certain practices that are known because other cultures, mixed company, white men, whoever, then kind of came in and changed some of the factors, and that's okay, but let's really get down and try to understand a little bit of shit here. So anyway, we understand Satan, right? Now this is coming from the book of Satan, also the book of the devil, and what we call the devil's sermon. Okay, so these are different writings that are pulled and put together. So if we really was to tell the truth with, without the stereotypical energies that we talk about here, or the common shit, and we really get real down into it, Satan is a woman and is at the top. Okay, and Satan is a black woman. Okay, the energies of the Baphomet have all of this energy, but it's always connected to masculine frequency. We have people like, Tasha K and them having you guys follow false doctrines, telling you about Buddhism and all of this energy, but they're not telling you that Buddhism is going through a change. Okay, but they're not telling you that some of those entities or deities and statues are connected to, of course, the Baphomet, okay, and the same energy. So you have some Buddha with the bald head, you have some Buddha with kind of the dreads twisted and so on. But the bottom line is that you don't know if it's Japanese, Chinese, Indonesian, and so on, but we can say that it is of an Eastern culture, but it is connected to the Baphomet. But they have explained to you the Baphomet, of course, is a bull. The Baphomet is a goat. The Baphomet comes from, some believe, Egypt. Some believe, of course, Rome. But how about is none of that, because the Baphomet is connected to a wisdom and foundation. It is connected to a movement and a culture. And the bottom line is that the original energy of the Baphomet, before they flipped and changed it, was a black woman. That's above your pay grade, with breasts and a vagina. Okay, because the woman is the creator, the black woman especially is the creator of the heaven and the earth. Okay, because she's creating the energies in her likeness. So you guys don't understand these practices right here. So when we go back to the Satan was the original energies of darkness. And we could keep going back, but the original energies of the darkness. However, the energies of Satan also created an energy within her likeness. So therefore, within her likeness, like Christ, like God, however you want to look at it, within her likeness. So therefore, she created the Trinity. Okay, and the Trinity, easy enough, went into a first, we're going to say mother and daughter. So she created a woman in her likeness. But then the daughter, as some would say, got lonely and created the God energy. So you know, I have different stories and from different type of frequencies and books and different type of idea. So there is your Trinity, right? However, the daughter, as they say, got lonely. Therefore, she gave her wisdom to God, which is a male. But this right here, that God syndrome, betrayed her and then start creating different frequencies that he should not have been creating, right? So then when we go back into the Garden of Eden, the Satan energy was trying to basically give Eve redemption, because that God was taking her knowledge from her, didn't want her to know anything, because the Lord woman gave the knowledge to God, which she should have never done that, because within that energies of Satan understood you can't give men knowledge because they're going to use it against you. Okay, that's an interesting philosophy, right? So therefore, because this one here, which is the Lord, created man in her likeness, there was confusion, because you have to remember, woman has a vagina and woman has a clitoris. That clitoris can turn into what? A penis. That's where it went into. Woman can basically create and birth and don't need sperm from a man. That's where the water energy comes from. That's where, you know, the Big Bang, if you want to be practical energies. A woman can impregnate herself like a dang jellyfish, right? Almost like the story of Isis. Okay? Because women, we are magnificent like that. We can do that. We just being nice to men. So it's like our brains forgot what we can really do. Because as you know, the clitoris can enlarge itself, right? It's such a cold game and a cold spell. So man hate the fact that he is of a likeness of a woman. He hate the power that the woman has. That's what the spirit was showing. Okay, so much so, then this is where you get your Jesus Lucifer effect, because the Lucifer is nothing but a eunuch and a homosexual. But where did Lucifer Jesus come from? Because then it goes all the way back into Revelations of the dragon that was trying to kill the kid. And then somebody took the baby from the woman and gave it to who? God. Then what happens in Revelations? This child appears, but we not understanding there are imposters, and we not understanding there are two Marys, and there is a Mary that is the Christ, that is the supernatural. Then there is the Mary where they switched it, that is Mary Magdalene at the tomb. Then here comes, they say, the other Mary, where at one time it would say Mary, Mother of God, at the tomb. and Mary Magdalene, then there's the angel. But in reality, the angel is saying, I know of Jesus. No, that's a legion. So that means there's two different Christs. There's two different Christs because there's one who went to hell and one went to heaven. And you see what I'm saying? It's still the same concept, but this is above y'all pay grade. But these are all the writings. This is all the practices, and these are, different energies that if you can, you could look it up. But a lot of y'all don't know how to practice this, because then what comes into play is you as a woman. You don't know what it is to be a woman because you have been under man. Your lens have been under man. So what is being a woman? Okay, but we're going to get to something, because we're going to go back to the Garden of Eden, because the redemption was coming from Satan, who was trying to help, as they say, the Lord to redeem herself after giving her knowledge away to man who went against her, right? However, going to the Garden of Eden, there's this whole conversation going on. She look over, it's the snake of Satan, trying to say, hey, Eve, that man that they call God and your other, that Adam, they blocking you, they censoring you, they blocking your knowledge. See, you don't understand. You got the tree of life, and then you got the tree of death. Okay? Then you have the tree of knowledge. The tree of knowledge. Because you could give life, but you can also take a life. But you also have wisdom and knowledge. I'm going to give this to you, but I don't need you to tell those men. Okay. Here comes Adam ass. God wasn't even tripping off of Eve. God came into the picture when Adam came in effect, right? So here come Adam. What the fuck you doing? I'm just minding my business. What you over here eating? Off the tree of knowledge. You know you're not supposed to eat off of that. Can I have some? The snake. When you give him that, you're going to be cursed. You're going to be cursed. And you're going to be punished because it's going to go bad. And he pressuring her, Adam pressuring her. So she gives it to him. Here come God. What the hell you doing? What's happening? She did it. She had me eat this. What? Yeah. Right? And he just told on her. But then there's this energy with the whole Adam's apple, right? But in reality, in the other story, it talks about the energy of, and I'm pronouncing this wrong, but it's called the Arsenio Occulti or Arsenio Occultes. Okay, meaning Adam was having homosexual relations. In reality, you know how they say throat goat? It was like the woman caught him throat goating and had the penis or the prostate stuck in his throat. Is that part? Because they was already cutting up, right? So we're going to get to that energy. So understand those mythologies are the reason why these people feel that they have a leg to stand on. Because it's so much shit. Because then you have the God of man pulling fucking rib bones, making little chirrups. Little demonic devils that's roaming around the universe, right? Creating babies out of hip bones. That tells you right there the jealousy of woman. Not only in some cultures they cut the clitoris off the woman because of jealousy, but No, I'm going to get to that one later because I'm going to get to some other shit. But we have to understand it's been fucked up ever since. But this is just a philosophy and a practice. It's on the same lines of the energies of Allah. That you got all these sisters running their asses into dang Islam. Talk about what Christianity and the Allah and the jinn and shit, and they throwing and they praying against us, saying that we're weak, we're mentally not sound, right? But you gotta be one hell of a person to understand Christianity, okay? So there's not a fight. Because some of them believe if I pray 5 times a day, it'll make me whole because of Allah. No, you're under a male religion. You guys are not even under the Trinity, because you would understand the Allah. Do you understand the halal? Okay, and then you would understand the different frequencies of the alpha and the omega within the H frequency, within the power of 3 that turns into woman. Then you go into the Trinity, of course, of the goddesses. And that's what you guys should be under. And that's what you're supposed to be practicing. But you didn't sat up and got your asses caught up in a male-dominated religion. They have you guys looking like a damn Teletubby, covered up like a fucking Teletubby. Or what's those new little characters called? Lala Boo Boo? I'm not being rude or disrespectful, but I'm looking at it for what it is. And then some of you guys be covered up to capacity, which you guys believe it gives you a power and it causes some people to fear you. And some of the ones who are covered like that, especially the black ladies, will attack you. And I will just go crazy and I'll snatch the shit off of you because I don't know if you're a threat. Because in the next couple of years, they're going to say that you guys are extremists and you guys are a domestic threat. Because this is a different form. I'm not being rude. I'm just saying we're going to be at war with each other as black women. And we don't want to be at war. Real shit. I have done work for women under the Islamic and also the Nation of Islam. And we've been cool, but these are older ladies. Not the current state of the younger ladies that are going extreme. So we need to understand certain philosophies that's in front of us. So they have you guys following Eastern cultures. That's an idol of the land. That is against the spirit. Then there's another perspective of black woman that they don't want you to know about, right? Because what's also happening within these frequencies of knowledge is this. Literally, I'm just going to talk black women. But as women, let me go there. As women, we don't know how to be a woman. We don't know how to look, talk, be, or have understanding of what in the fuck is a woman. Everything that we are have been molded and transformed in the idol of a man. We have an energy, let me go into the conscious community, that have overwhelmed us with idols. Even in the Christian church, if the pastor is a man, then we are understanding the word through the pastor, who is a man. But in reality, as a woman, especially in the black church, we should understand the word within our own likeness and not through man throwing fire and air. Men should understand the word their way. Women, we should understand the word our way, because men need to be under the blood. Men have to be baptized. Women, we have periods. We don't have to be under the blood, but we can say, I'm going to put that under the blood. We also have women who go through menopause but still get pregnant. That's a different type of force. But due to us being under male-dominated frequencies, we didn't get the full perspective of how the word is dominated through homosexuality, eunuchs, concubines, harlots, because it didn't tell us the truth. But because we are black women, we know how to read it through the spirit. But we also got ganked because on the simple fact that we got male dominated. They're telling us to follow Timothy. They say in our vaginas and bodies stink under Leviticus. I'm understanding under the Muslim culture, they're being told when they on their periods, they can't pray to their God. Who does that, right? However, we need to start looking at some frequencies, right? We have a couple of frequencies, not only, eunuchs and concubines, but we have an energy is, I believe it's called Malakos or Malakes, Malakos, which is still dealing with feminization, passive, effeminate, all of that. Okay, that's in the Bible. In addition to, you have, Arsenocotis or Arsenici, okay, which taps back into Arsenio, but male homosexuality, male prostitution. So we have to understand. So one word is spelled Malakos. The other one is Arsenokitai. And then it can, at the end, it can also be spelled ES, which is considered homosexual or a sodomite. Okay, so we as women have to understand how this was written. They told us King James, but we have to be careful because the Bible was transcribed so many times and translated so many times. And like I said, through the years, you can see the change. Even Nostradamus had an energy within the Bible and being an astrologer, astronomy, a predictor, and a philosopher. So we have to be careful what we're reading, because in later years you get into psychology. I call it the alter ego or the archetype, right? Because then you get into Sigmund Freud, into psychology, then you get into philosophical frequencies of other beings as being part of that world. Even Sigmund Freud's daughter had input. So when you start to read the Bible, you start to kind of pick up on some frequencies. And we have to be careful because King James is actually Sigmund Freud's archetype or alter ego, because we have to understand the backstory of Sigmund Freud, which is used as the father of psychology, right? Because we understand psychology also comes out, the UK, Germany, even Poland, even Russia. So we have to understand the different frequencies. Even with the Holocaust, that was a whole scientific research and study, a social experiment, which is, I call that the darker side of psychology. So we have to understand those forces and philosophical frequencies come into the Bible. So in spirit, we have to have discernment, because there's certain things that have been rewritten to basically pacify homosexual behaviors due to certain philosophies of men, and to and to bury and to smother a lot of the feminine frequencies that's there, right? Within the word, within the truth, because we have to understand women are verbal. Women speak in a certain frequency. So we have a lot of writings, but not writings, but we can say words in addition to drawings and paints, infras, stuff like that. But where men do, they used to do scribes, which leads into scriptures and verses. Okay, so we just kind of have to understand the world of what we're tapping into here, right? So we just want to give, people a fair chance, because if you're saying that I'm coming at you, I'm just trying to understand your foundation and where your argument and where you're getting sponsored and where do you feel that you have a leg to stand on. Okay, so anyway, as we're going into the word, we are to understand the energies of Satan also freed the black people out of Egypt, because the Satan seen eunuchs and homosexuals, and then they end up enslaving. Okay, so then stupid ass Moses go take them into the goddamn desert, have them 20,000 years and 20,000 days up in the fucking desert. Then these people get frustrated, okay, and then went to the old gods. They went to the cow, sheep, ox, whatever. They're just practicing it because they don't know any fucking better. Doesn't that sound like the black people today, and messing around with third world energies and messing around with different idols because they don't know what to do, because they want to be saved? Okay, because they want to go back to a certain life. But that is because there is a miseducation of what the spirit is and what we supposed to know within the spirit, right? So anyway, the real prophetess, not prophet, but prophetess, because you can't have a prophet without the prophetess basically anointing the male. But whatever this energy is, it came back, surpassed the woman who basically set them free, got them up in the desert. But that is also because Moses started listening to God, this male energy, the idol. Because remember, the conscious community also taught us that men are gods. Look up to your God. No, men are idols. You would never look at man as no fucking God. That would be your downfall. And as a woman, you never ever look at no man as a God. Because you are the woman. You are Satan. You are the Lord. Okay, you have to give him the wisdom. Then he can come in and help you. It tells you that in Proverbs. It said that you cannot be with a man without basically teaching him some kind of wisdom. Okay? He has to learn that from the woman. But that makes a lot of sense to why men hold on to women. Okay? However, as we keep going and as we keep understanding what's going on, his crazy ass Moses went and spoke to a damn burning bush. That's very arsenic. So then he was so crazy, they had to just finally throw him the 10 Commandments. But if they would have listened to Miriam and let Miriam lead, then they would have basically got out of the damn desert and went on to their destination, to their, to their new land that Satan was trying to give to them. See, these teachings you don't get, because you're going to get a man and get these Bible thumping hoes. That's not what it is. And that's why your ass is in turmoil. You stuck as a motherfucker. So then, as we keep going on and on, when you look at the universal world, you will start to realize a lot of energies is through the lens of man. We don't know ourselves as women. Jezebel was a man. Okay, with the makeup and hair and with the nails and whatever else is going on. Anytime, now here's the funky thing. When the spirit is making us we're going to say, in the likes of her, Christ-like, the United States and the world is effeminate. It is in the likes of her. But man comes back and causes destruction and harm. To cause destruction and to tear up and to manipulate. Everything is in a woman's nature. Everything is of her. But man fucks it up with war, mayhem, weather changing, shifting, all of that, right? Then when the mother gets upset and want to tear shit up, then it's a fucking problem. They want to create floods and shit in Texas, and everybody is wondering, how in the hell could it be 30 feet of water, but the next day, CNN was there standing on the grass? How did all this happen? But there's no questions about that, right? That's what you call man-made situations that we better go, allegedly, right? So anyway, as they're playing games in different countries, causing floods and this and that, and you guys are believing it's the rumors and the end of wars, the spirit is trying to show you men are fucking haters. They have always been jealous of women that they transformed themselves into a woman. So much so when you go back to African scarification, they told you it has something to do or to enable to show you what tribe you're at or what tribe you're in, right? No, they did that to scar up women to basically fuck up their beauty. Because the spirit made us the likes of her, in the likes of her. We are women. The spirit made us beautiful. The spirit made aroma. The spirit gave us beautiful eyes, hair, lips, or whatever. And we don't need makeup, right? That's what the spirit says. But it is man who needs makeup. It is man who needs to get their body altered because they're trying to be us. But according to what this person is stating, I have issues with gay people. Black women have issues with gay people. No, we've been under their spell work and we don't know how to be a woman through our own lens because we need to be led properly, right? Because they come in and take our religion. They come in and defame us. They come in and mask this energy. And we have the veil over our eyes, right? We have to go back and revisit the bleeding woman. The other energies of the bleeding woman, that was never a woman. That was a man. That was a castrated man that kept bleeding. So we didn't found out a different energy with Jezebel. We didn't see a different energy with the bleeding woman. We didn't understood that they ignored all the women in the Bible. They said, fuck you to the prophetess. They didn't develop the frequency where they kept writing it. So we can understand concubine, homosexual, eunuchs, trans. We can, the other energies of the Arsenio Codis or Arsenio Codi. Then we can understand the Melicos. You know how I pronounce it, which is connected to homosexual and sodomites. But then the other energy of them being lost in Esther. Esther is such a pinnacle in energies, right? And the reason why is because Esther is more important than the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. Because that right there is what we're going through right now, right? One, we have Sukahana insulting Maya and insulting what is this, Stacey Dash, talking about that their pussy is trash. That sound like a whole trans man. That sound like a homosexual ass nigga then said that shit. You're gonna sit up and devalue those women? And you a woman? That's the shit I'm talking about. That sound like a whole homosexual. Only a homosexual would say some shit like that a woman's pussy is trash and you ain't fucked her. Talk about, well, she crazy and stuff, and she doing this and she doing that. What the fuck are you talking about? You sound like a homosexual. Tubi is nothing but gay sex. The way the men keep hitting them women doggy style, the way they grabbing at their necks, the way they rough them up, the way they beat their ass, the way they bitch, the way they have them sucking and fucking. I seen R. Kelly's ex-wife sucking on a man's dick in an elevator on a fucking Tubi movie or show. That's gay sex. The volatile energy is gay sex. The loosey-goosiness is gay sex. It's orgy type sex. No, that is not a woman. We are looking at a male-dominated frequency through the eyes of homosexuals. And the money sponsoring it is coming from Middle Easterns and also Indians. We're going to say allegedly. So understand, when you go look at Tubi, you could compare it to white shows, African. You're not going to see all that sexcapade going on. But when it comes up to the American blacks doing that shit, the supposed American blacks, and a lot of them are fucking ranch motherfuckers, wherever they're from. Third worlds, I don't know. That shit is connected to homosexual behavior and violence. The over energies and the over sex mentality is connected to that. Okay? Understand what it is so we don't ever get to see ourselves through our own lens. I was talking to somebody about Charlie's Angels. I said Charlie's Angels, they were all being handled. That was a handler. Who in the fuck was Charlie? This person wrote in so many words that statement like Kenya Moore, that they didn't send for me. I like, oh my God, the Real Housewives of Atlanta, Basketball Wives, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, all of that is under fucking Ballroom. It's through the lens of gay men. It's a fucking sodomite. Zeus Channel, sodomite. Baddies, sodomite. Bad Girls Club, sodomites. No wonder they up there fucking fighting and shit. That's a whole gay boy energy. They fight each other. They clown each other. They snarky with each other. They twirl around. That's their shit. They get all that plastic surgery. They fuck up their faces. They got these women out here looking like fucking brats. They don't even look like lions and tigers and bears. Getting rhinoplasties, getting all that rotten ass shit in their flesh is rotting. Having all that sex, taking prep. You got a Madison telling Kaya she can't say shit. The fuck? Better get the fuck up underneath that goddamn shit. The hell? But we have to understand the foundation, right? Okay, we go into Esther. That is a total mythology story of folklore that's in Greek and in Italian. And both of those, and Esther is dealing always with a king who end up killing his wife. In the mythology, I think in the Italian one, he kicked his wife, his pregnant wife, in the belly as he was having sex with eunuchs and shit. And then scalped her, and then found a boy, and then basically castrated the boy and ended up gallivanting him around the universal soul as his wife. And then he died, and then he ended up getting passed around and killed himself. And that's the same energy in the Greek story. In this story over here, Esther didn't have a father or mother. It is to be determined if Esther even had children, depending how it's written in Hebrew or whatever, depending, because some say that Esther didn't even have children. The uncle sells Esther to the king. But remember, the king got mad at his biological wife, who has a vagina, had her arrested and go into judgment. That's where you guys need to read, I think it's Corinthians 6, when it talks about the civilians judging and judging others within their sin. But it's in Corinthians, I think it's Corinthians 6. I have to look it up. Right? So then we never know really what happened with the wife, but all we know is that he went and tried to put her in jail because she didn't want to accept his lifestyle. Because he wanted to fuck eunuchs and homosexuals. However, there was a harem. So anyway, he liked Esther. He sent Esther, remember, to go get dollied up through the eunuchs and the homosexuals. Does that sound familiar? Does that sound familiar? Saucy Santana and fucking Young Miami? And the rest of that Law Roach and the rest of them niggas? Does that sound familiar? And understand there's a difference between a gay man and a homosexual. Let's get that straight. But understand gay has an interesting umbrella, because that also incorporates women. But here's the ass kicker. You have to be careful within the eunuchs. You have women transitioning into men. And you have women doing male shit pretending to be men. Because that princess, who's her name, that Princella chick, falls under a eunuch. Because we don't know what's going on there. And you guys got caught up in that Princella. See, I had a client that got caught up with Princella. And I was wondering what the fuck was going on. And I kept questioning her and questioning her. Finally, she admitted that she was reading and following behind. I said, get that goddamn book and send it to hell. Throw that shit outside and put it in the garbage. It took me a minute to get her back because I knew it was some shit. What it is, what it ain't, what it ain't, what it is. Air and fire magic. I looked at that crazy ass debate talking about patriarch and matriarch. That shit is not important. I'm trying to figure why in the hell is Candace Owens even debating these bitches. Because anytime you dealing with feminism, that's y'all trying to be a man. When I seen that debate, I said that is so biblical. The slower you talk, your tone, you sound analytical, and I believe she's air. Y'all just go for anything. That's what they call double talking. I call it air and fire magic. And double talking is usually used in political form. And they try to make it make sense. And all we just watched was just a humiliation ritual between how she didn't got nigga jiggered. I'm talking about Candace Owens. She didn't got nigga jiggered. They didn't took her from somewhere and took her off her capsule and got her in nigga jiggered, and they trying to take her down and humiliate her. You cannot have a fair argument with a black woman married to a white man and with biracial children. That's not a fair fight. That argument or that debate should have been with a woman who's a black woman who is married with children and married to a black man. Now that's a debate. That's an equal. You're going to put this woman up against other depressed women, which includes Princella, who's depressed. We don't know if this woman's heterosexual, a dude, or a woman. I don't know what's going on with that, but you can see the trauma and you can see the buildup. And how am I taking this seriously with a woman wearing a hat to the back and looking like a whole nigga? And some of you people out there, no, she just a stud. What are you talking about? In a minute, you guys gonna get clowned like a motherfucker because these white girls gonna swoop up on black women. So while you guys out here, you men are trying to be abusive, verbally, mentally, sometimes physically, nasty, aggressive, they looking at you as a terrorist, a domestic terrorist, an extremist, and a tyrant with a whole list of fucking issues. Then the white lesbians are coming in and clowning on the black lesbians and studs. You have black lesbians and what you guys call them femmes complaining about your sex, saying you guys are detached, you don't want people to touch you, you up there with that hard ass rubbery item, talking about that you getting down with the fake dick and shit, but you're detached. It's a whole concept. So the white studs are going having sex with black men or with black gay men, trying to suck up their energy, hang around them, be their homeboy, and then go and swoop up on the black women, go and persuade the black women with all of the negativity of the studs, black men. And in the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to see a whole bunch of young black or you're going to see a whole bunch of black women going to be fucking around with white studs. You seen that shit up in, especially it was the introduction when, who was that? Just Hilarious was on that show. It's on Tubi. I think it's something on 10, having sex with a white woman. That's going to be the shit. That's a whole other dimension of a black woman having sex with a white woman. That is a dimension. But for sure, they are getting things rolled up. They're rolling it up. And they're pointing and they're saying that you black homosexuals and eunuchs are extremists. And they're going to give you a few special need motherfuckers. And they're going to prove their point. We just talking. But we're going to go back, because when we go back to Esther, you will see the eunuch. But we can understand that the eunuchs that they're talking about are men to women ratio, the trans, and then the homosexuals. Then they have them dollying up Esther, dollying up the harem, which caused the harem to become harlots. So when we get someone like who they, these women out here trying to call women whores, no, let's get it right and see what's really going on here, because they're being because they're being impacted by who? Men. They know this, because as women, we don't know how to live or look at ourselves as women, because we've been under the male frequency forever. Okay? So therefore, yes, you have the right in your frequencies to talk shit, because according to everything, you have backup, you have foundation. Even in the church, some of you guys are saying we're being kicked out of the church, so we have to create our own church. No, you're getting kicked out of church because you act like pigs, and you're creating choirs with power booties, with ejaculation in it. You're singing like a cherub with ejaculation in your throat. You're outdoing the mother and the pastor's wife. You up there angry with the pastor because he's talking nasty and freaky to you because he got fucking special problems being old. But you're entertaining it. I'm not talking about the pastors who take advantage of children. Because my whole thing is, why are the mothers, because most of the time it's single mothers, why are you leaving your kids with the pastor in the first place? Gay men go to church. I say gay men to have a refuge because they know they wrong. Homosexuals go to church because they want to fuck and be seen. They're creating the new sodomite church, which is the which the love center is the template of the sodomite church. So you're being paid to create and push an agenda with your ballroom church, with your gorilla church, with your sodomite church, and later on your orgy, your gospel orgy. Don't think this shit ain't been in effect. Hawkins, BB and CC Winan, the Winans, Kirk Franklin was in 1993. Shirley Caesar, you fucking around with Shirley Caesar, you become a stud. Okay? Keep fucking around. Donnie McKirkland, he's still fucking confused. Aretha Franklin, her gospel album, you hearing the orgy. There are so many gospel songs that you can listen to. Some of them are hardcore. James Cleveland, he has so many motherfuckers. You go to San Francisco and you hear from some of the gay boys who used to be in that life. They'll tell you about James Cleveland and the rest of them. Even Glide. Powell, one of the singers in San Francisco. Shit. Jim Jones. You could hear the fucking shit in his gospel album, The Cult Leader. You niggas ain't doing shit new. Everybody just covered it up better. LaShawn Pace, you could hear the fetish in her energy. We were in discussion about LaShawn Pace. I said, she mustered up some demons. I said, I think it goes back to the mother. I said, because you could hear the witch in her mother. I'm not being rude or mean. I'm just looking at the work. So the number one thing is, we as women, we have to learn how to be women. Because we don't know how to be a woman because we've been under a man. Do you understand your whole life and your whole existence have been under a man? If you got problems with your mother, it's because of man. If you are a daughter, you got problems with your mother, it's over a man. If you a son and you got problems with your mother, it's over a man. Everything in your existence is always have a connection with a man. Your mother couldn't even groom you as a young lady because she was grooming you for a man. Then your ass say you decided to be a lesbian, but the lesbian that you are, either you are the dude or you trying to transform yourself to this imposter pretending to be a dude. I'm not being rude. I'm just saying what it is. That's why I don't understand why women be castrating themselves, cutting their breasts off. Just leave your breasts. Or fucking up their vaginas and extending their clitoris. That's not enough dick. Look, because I was about to say something rude in the spirit for her, because I was about to say something about some Chinese man. I'm just, ignore me. No, I'm just saying. So, I just want to say, I understand your fight. But under the word, the bottom line is that women have to learn how to strike y'all, though. Because the spirit gave us the energies and the words and the battle and the energies to fight you. You guys out here trying to be Yemaya and be under Solange and listening to the fight between her and Zayla Banks and all that. Fuck that shit. That don't strike nothing. We got people out here praying against us. Motherfuckers in Mecca, the synagogues, whatever you call those, the Orthodox churches. There's hella men praying against us. There's women praying against us. Do you understand there was a time that nobody can pray against a black woman? We have a new energy out here that we didn't even peep as black people. They have an energy where I think it's called Hispanic Service Institution. At one time, we had black women in the church praying for our sons and daughters to go to college. They have an energy called Hispanic Service Institution, where they get scholarships and they get a walk into college. They could go to all of the HBCUs. They can go to a few Ivy Leagues. They can cut them and go to all the schools in California. Hispanic Service Institution. Dear black people, where's your shit? They telling your black ass not to go to college. But they have resources for the Hispanic community. And they talking among themselves in it. What you standing on? Joy Reid, she need to be sued. And who else need to be sued is that Haitian who was the press secretary. How in the hell did that happen? Joy Reid is the reason why we're having trouble. She is Congolese. And she got affirmative action, African frequencies, and more. Do you understand, as American blacks, we could have applied for the same thing? Matter of fact, I'm Latina. I'm applying for that too. Matter of fact, I'm going to apply. I'm Chinese too. Matter of fact, I'm white. How, with our DNA and genetics, prove it. Everybody have resources. Except for the American black. Matter of fact, we need to do a coalition where we understand law. In your city, you're pro se. In my city, I'm pro per. And we put that together as black people, a coalition to understand the law. So we can represent ourselves. Because we need to sue the DEI. We need to sue affirmative action. We need to sue everybody. Matter of fact, including the Hispanic Service Institution. That's what it is. I'm not just talking, I'm looking at it for what it is. However, we could put it together. But it's easy enough, and we could represent ourselves if we understand law. Shit, we need some people who's in paralegal and stuff. Just do it. Because there's some crazy shit going on out here. There's some crazy shit going on that we so whack as black people that other mixed companies can come in and study the fuck out of us. In Amy, Louisiana, there's a situation going on, right? So let me go back. So remember that whole Harvard shit where they kept saying that black people are on the low man on a totem pole and trying to oust us. Then the Asian people got ousted too. Then I started cracking up because remember that whole story with the Chinese man and he done made a whole concoction and tried to poison the fuck out of the Indian. This is when I found out that the Japanese and Chinese, in addition to the Indians, they are not copacetic. Okay, so we better understand some things. Let me go back. So anyway, in that Amy, Louisiana, there's a whole story tale, right? So apparently and allegedly, this doctor named Muhammad Shaheed, listen, he's an addict. He goes place to place with these clinics, but he's a whole swindler. So we need to start looking at some of these people who are opening up clinics in small towns and living in small towns, especially in your area. If you're black and you have property and it's a small town, you better read the fucking room, because this is the situation. So a person that I know, spiritual constituents, she takes care of her mother, right? So apparently, her brothers and sisters ain't shit. So anyway, she's taking care of her mother. One day last year, they came in and whooped her goddamn ass down to the goddamn ground and took that guy and that damn brother of hers, who's a fucking crackhead. He then sat up, took a metal belt, not metal belt, but a metal bat or whatever, hit her, beat her with it, so she was in pain and shit. And I told her he gonna get fucked up and shit, because that's revenge, redemption, and responsibility. So that's a whole other conversation. So then they went and kidnapped her mother, took the mother out the house, kept taking the mother out the house, and then went in the bank account and took the mother's money and shit, did all type of shit, right? The brother and sister. So anyway, they brought the mother back after they didn't handle their business. Anyway, so now here we are this year. So that was 2024. Now this is 2025. So the mother took sick. So the mother didn't have her medication. So of course my spiritual constituents called the ambulance to take the mother to the hospital. However, they end up, I'm just paraphrasing what's going on, they end up putting a restraining order against my spiritual constituents, in addition to trying to press charges and also on elder abuse, and then said she could not go back home. To find out through her attorney, in addition to some people who gave her the information, the hospital looked in the records, and to find out there was over $10,000 of prescription medication that was pain medication that was written in the mother's name through that doctor. And my spiritual constituent said she don't even know that man. But it made like it was as if it was given to her and she was taking the medicine or stealing it. But to find out, the brothers and sisters were the one who took the medicine from the Indian guy. Okay? Then the elder people was trying to put the mother in a governmental convalescent home, but to find out the mother had, I think, insurance and monies to pay for a better convalescent home. Then the person in the elder energy was asking, well, hey, is the house paid for? And she's like, no, they was asking if there was a mortgage. She said, no, there's not a mortgage on this house. This house is paid for. At that point, they had to forget the whole case, but they end up having the mother go with the other sister, the one who beat her ass. So now she's, getting things cleared up and everything, right? So just to say all of that, the mother's doctors, basically vouch for my spiritual constituents, saying, no, this is what it is. So through documentation and information to find out, the Indian was going to try to take the house. So they was going to put the mother in a convalescent, hoping that the house go into foreclosure. They say he's done it to white people, black people, all. So in your small towns, watch out who lives there, because there is a movement going on to buy foreclosed homes, especially if you're black. Okay? So that can be the connection of what's going on in Washington, D.C. also. Okay? With these agents being on board. Just like this, people have me cracking up in anger over Medicaid. Well, they're not telling you with the Medicaid that is connected to immigrants. People out here talking about in Los Angeles, they're giving $1 billion in food stamps. I said, oh, really? However, people out here tripping off of Section 8 or certificates because they given them so many years. Well, guess what? There's a difference between Section 8 and certificates and subsidized housing, even though it's project based and it's under the same umbrella. There's a certificate in Section 8, but there's subsidized where you can move into an apartment or projects and it goes by your income. I believe that's where they're going. It's word game. They may be trying to build some shit like in China and shit and have you guys in a project-based type of environment after tearing down the projects. Or they have so many empty apartments around here, it might be beneficial to move people into these apartments and so on, and it goes by your income. But that's separate from Section 8 and certificates. So understand the difference, because there's a lot of immigrants and individuals who have applied for certificates in Section 8 that maybe they shouldn't be on it. So they always going to put a black face on it, but understand what it is, what it ain't is what it is. Y'all see the spell work? Because the funny thing is, it also goes back into the community who some people had AIDS, some people had HIV and so on, and they were in those certain programs. So there's some things to, of course, to investigate. So for sure we have to understand what the Jubilee is and how the games are being played. But at the same time, there's too many people out here playing games with us and trying to say, remember the action word, maladaptive? The maladaptive effect. Don't let people be out here playing games with you. Okay? And for sure, women, we are considered what they call infidel. We don't practice these people religions. And that energy and we're going to call the cult, that's a religion. But we need to come back. And I'm even challenging the people that I do one-on-ones with, and I'm working very closely. Who are you? What type of woman are you? You're going to have to basically unravel yourself. You're fucking 60 years old and you don't even know how to be a woman. It kind of reminds me of Stevie J, when he said he had to teach a woman to get in the bath. That's a man. See how men are insulting? I was telling somebody today, I said homosexuals are always attacking a woman's vagina. You got Princella and you have Jocelyn Hernandez. Jocelyn Hernandez was on a fucking live yesterday in Las Vegas. And she was acting really weird. And she was talking about Zeus, and now she was eating oysters. Then she abruptly ended the live. Then I said, oh, wait a minute. What the? And I seen it kept saying Vegas. I said, wasn't the boxing match in Vegas? I said, that's why she there. People like her, y'all don't know what it is to be a woman. People like Princella, you don't know what it is to be a woman. People like the homosexual community, you don't know what it is to be a woman. People like Sukahana, who is followed acting like a homosexual and a freaking eunuch, don't know. We're going to have to peel ourselves and restructure ourselves. But this may not be for everybody, because some of you guys may be weak. and don't want to change, don't want to listen. And this is this is spell work. And it's a cold game, and it's a cold piece of work. And this is not being homophobic, transphobic, or what it is. I'm trying to understand the foundation and give women another energy to look at, another frequency. You don't know what it is and how it is to be a woman, because you've never lived as a woman. And in my world, I don't have no problem in putting on a little bit of this and a little bit of that and a little bit of that. It's okay to enhance a little bit, but not a lot. It's always a man have something to say. You wearing this, you do that. But if we cut that noise out, and we okay as women, I ain't talking about no divine feminine. I'm not talking about any of that. I mean for real. Then maybe we can get somewhere. Maybe we can get some money in our pockets, because men glue themselves to us and then glue themselves to our money and wealth. Do you understand that eunuchs intentionally transformed themselves into women because they were jealous of their aunties, their sisters, their cousins, their mothers? They watch from a distance and then turn around and say, you're jealous of us. Where did that come from? No, I'm trying to get from underneath you. You have conscious niggas at you. Everybody at you. Especially as black women. We need to restructure ourselves and try to ask ourselves, how and what is a woman? What am I? Okay? Anyway, this is Weird Renegade Witches Blog. Hit us up when you want some real motherfucking work done.